Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elisa Nolli, and I'm the Business Development Coordinator at the Chamber of Commerce Brasil-Canada, and it's a pleasure to be with all of you today. In the second edition of the Brazilian Week CCBC Online Festival, we brought together several partners to present a wide range of activities and business opportunities in different sectors. In this first panel, we will showcase the opportunities and best practice in the Brazilian cocoa and chocolate sector. We'll demystify environmental issues related to exploration and cultivation, present the country's different regions, flavors, and textures of cocoa bean and chocolate, besides successful stories of environmental and social responsibility projects. With no further ado, I now have the honor to call Paulo Márcio Araújo, Agriculture Attaché at the Embassy of Brazil in Ottawa. Márcio, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Elisa. Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for the invitation to participate in such a great event. My name is Paulo, and it's an honor to be here representing the Ministry of Agriculture and the Embassy of Brazil. And it's also a pleasure to talk a little bit about some of the wonderful flavors Brazil has to offer to the Canadian food lovers and to the food lovers around the world. I just saw that we have someone from Lebanon here, so it's going to be a pleasure to be sharing those experiences with you guys. I would just share my screen here. Just 1 second, please. There you go. Let's see if I got it right. Okay. We practice a lot and then I got it wrong. Well, Brazil is one of the biggest food exporters in the world. The data on this screen shows the most relevant products in our trade portfolio and our position in the world export rankings. Are guaranteeing the food security of many countries, being able to provide our trading partners with a wide range of products that meet and exceed sanitary and quality requirements. Over the last few years, we were able to help several countries that had to deal with food shortages caused by droughts, floods, vegetal and animal diseases. Since our production is spread across several provinces, even when we have production issues in one region, we can manage to compensate these losses with products coming from different places. Thanks to the heavy use of land-saving technologies, such as double cropping or even triple in some regions, and no tiling, we have been able to dramatically increase our productivity over the last 4 years. While the land used for agriculture has grown only 33%, our production was up almost 40% in this period. This slide shows how land is used in Brazil. Our farms take roughly 50% of the Brazilian territory. But thanks to our code, an average of 40% of the land in the farms is somehow protected and subject to restrictions of use. Some places agriculture, as the legislation mandates that at least 20% of each property should be saved and restored to its original state. That percentage goes up to 50% in some areas and 80% in the Amazon region. We are world leaders in adoption of and development of low-carbon agriculture technologies such as double cropping, no tillage, integrated crop, livestock, and forest system. Most of these technologies is not limited to large farms, but also on public. But there's a whole range of new products, unique flavors that we're sure. Okay. The good thing about these products is that they, just like the chocolate we're going to see in a few minutes, they come from the forest and they are produced and collected in a very sustainable way, so that by buying them, we're helping to preserve the forests. And I have some examples here for you. Well, it's not working. Just 1 second. It's not. All right. This is 100% Amazon grown coffee, cultivated by indigenous communities in the province of Rondônia. And then this red circle shows where the region is. coffee was planted by farmers in those indigenous lands before the demarcation of the territories. About 35 years ago, when the lands were returned to the indigenous communities, they kept cultivating this coffee in a sustainable way, and now the coffee is reaching the Brazilian markets, finally. These are Yanomami mushrooms. There are 15 different species cultivated by the indigenous communities in the northernmost part of the Amazon forest, a region that's very difficult to reach, usually a 6-day drive, boat and hike trip from the nearest city, São Gabriel da Cachoeira, which is a 10-day boat trip from Manaus. So it's a very remote place, and it's a wonderful place because if you have the chance to travel there, you get to see all the biomas of the Amazon. You start from the 6 meters high and you go up to 3,000 meters. So you get to see the whole range of the Amazon animals and plants. So it's a very interesting trip. This is the Xingu honey. It is produced in the Xingu National Reserve, the largest indigenous area in the world, which hosts 14 different ethnicities on 2.6 million hectares of land. This area is located in the transition region between the Amazon forest and the Cerrado, and it's an area that's under a big pressure of deforestation because it's very close to logging, farming, and cattle breeding areas. And finally, this is the imagem. You're not seeing it? No?
Paulo, if you could turn off your camera, maybe it's going to be better. I believe that the internet is not that good. So if you could, yes, turn off your camera and try to share your screen again. Yes.
Help. Let's try again. Sorry about that. Let me go back here. It's kind of locked here. You still can see it?
No, we don't see the presentation yet.
Okay, I'll just close the window and try again. I'm not having access to the Zoom. Well, I mean, I think I better finish this because the computer is having some issues. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll just finish without the screen. This was the last screen, so it's not gonna be too much of a problem. Can you see me again?
Yes.
Okay. Well, so these are some examples of the products we have, and the good thing about them is that I just said they could generate a great deal of opportunities while providing an income to those small farmers and those traditional communities. We believe that this is the best way of helping them preserve the forests. We are aware that these opportunities come with some real challenges, like coordinating government agencies, non-government organizations, producer co-ops, buyers and exporters to provide support these people need to make their business grow so that the money gets in the hands of the right people. It's not easy, it's not simple, but we know that it's doable, and we're going to see a lot of some examples right now with the cocoa. So, well, thank you for your time. I'm sorry about those technical issues. And I mean, if you have any questions, please, I'll share my contacts with you later. And please get in touch because we're really eager to work on those issues. And we think there's a lot of opportunities for those small producers. And we'll be very happy to help them reach the Canadian markets. Thank you. And let's have a great event.
Well, many thanks for the presentation. It's always a pleasure to count on your support. And now I would like to call Pedro Ronca, manager at Cocoa Action. Pedro,
okay.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here, joining a very interesting event. Thanks the Chamber of Commerce for the invitation. It's a great pleasure. So let me share my screen and then we can start. Oops, okay. So let's make a journey into the cocoa sector in Brazil. First, an overview. Brazil is currently the 7th world producer. We used to be 1 or 2 leaders 30 years ago. And now we produce half of we used to produce in the 80s. due to the witch's broom disease, but we are in fact recovering. And here is just for you all to understand where is Brazilian production, mostly in the state of Pará, in the middle of the Amazon, and also in the state of Bahia. So around 90% of the cocoa produced in Brazil comes from these two states, and the other from the other close and smaller states. And Brazil has this very interesting situation on the cocoa production, that we have the whole cocoa sector. We have cocoa production, cocoa processing, chocolate industry, and a strong consuming market, the fifth one in the world. And we can definitely increase in all these sectors. So also for you to understand and avoid misinformation, it's very important to understand where the production is located. So the state of Pará that I mentioned here before is exactly in the middle of the Amazon. Here is the Amazon biome, as you can see, the large green, dark green. And here is the Atlantic forest biome, and here is production of Bahia. So basically our production is concentrated in just these two biomes. And in Brazil, we have a very strong national forest code that is very known as one of the best in the world, even better than many developed countries. And this give us and put the obligation for growers to set a legal reserve area that in the Amazon is 80% of the land, and in the Atlantic forest, 20% of the land that needs to be placed for preservation, and also a strong preservation from the riparian buffers and water streams, at least with 30 meters of vegetation. So this legislation put us in a singular place also to protect the environment. But of course, the challenge is the law enforcement. That is a process. It's more developed in some regions, less in others, but this is part of what we are doing. So for you also to understand how is the production in Brazil, and this is very interesting because it's really based on the agroforest systems. For the ones that are not technical people, here, agroforest systems is basically where you combine different types of crops together with trees, shade trees, and you can have different products at the same area, sometimes using the forest or as shade, or producing trees for wood, timber, etc. So basically in both largest areas of production of Pará and Bahia, the great majority of the production is done in agroforest systems. In Bahia, it's called cabrucas. That's the traditional name of this model for Bahia. And in Pará, it's called basically agroforest systems, and it's a house for several endangered species like the golden-headed lion tamarin that you can find in the middle of the cocoa plantations that are in the middle of the forest, like you can see here in this picture here. So cocoa in Bahia, it's a very traditional and historical crop, almost 300 years. That for Brazil is a lot, considering that we are not a very old country as Brazil. So the cabruca system, as I mentioned, is a beautiful system. If you enter this, every time I go into this system, I get really passionate about it. And it's a system that is key to preserve the Atlantic forest in Brazil. So that's one of the reasons we really need to give economic viability to these systems, also to protect the Atlantic forest that is there. And also in the Amazon, that's usually great concern today, but cocoa in the Amazon today is a driver of reforestation instead of deforestation. So this is very interesting for us to learn and to understand, because cocoa is native of the Amazon region. So we can use it to restore the natural vegetation using agroforest systems, and some normative instructions on the law side provided us today the current situation that growers in the Amazon region can plant cocoa in agroforest systems to restore their legal reserve area that is mandatory for the forest code, as I said. So this is a great news also for the sector to develop forestry with production and income from growers. And we do have a lot of land available in the country for increasing our cocoa production without any need for deforestation. A lot of pasture lands can be used, and this is in fact what is happening. A study from Embrapa that we are partnering with them and should be released soon, but I'm taking the headlines up in front for you all. It will be published in November, but it's already analyzed the data and identified that 80% of the cocoa area in Pará state are not on deforested areas. So they were basically planted over already open areas or pasture lands. Before 2008, that's our limit for the forest code. This study also identified that where you have more cocoa, you have less fire, with statistic valid samples and analysis, and also identify that cocoa is basically totally out of protected areas like indigenous lands or national parks in Brazil. The great majority of it, it's not inside those important areas for preservation. Also very important for you all to learn the growers' profile in Brazil. The great majority of them are all smallholders, around 70% below 20 hectares. So this is also another importance of growing and developing the cocoa sector, is to provide income from these growers, and the great majority being smallholders really needed from the cocoa. But cocoa can of course deliver it, because it is a crop that when produced with high productivity, it can really give the growers a good income. Some researchers show that in the Amazon, for example, the income coming from the cocoa sector is 6 times higher than from the cattle, the traditional cattle rancher in the Amazon. So and using less land, that's also very interesting. So with some hectares, you can really make the living out of a family with 5 to 10 hectares of cocoa with good income. So this is really important also on the social area. And there is huge opportunities for increasing productivity in Brazil, because productivity it's a great need for us. Also improving credit access, that Brazil has a very large amount of credit available, 250 billion reais, but the cocoa sector is not reaching it for several reasons that we are working together to solve. But definitely a lot of opportunities for credit access, and also for Brazil to be placed as a source of sustainable cocoa. Just an overview on the opportunity for the productivity, just for you to understand. It's good to have something around 1,000 kilos per hectare. That's, let's say, the economic viability, but our average in the country is 300 kilos per hectare. So we have a lot of room to increase the productivity in Brazil. And if we can easily, on the technical side, let's say, triple the productivity of the cocoa sector in Brazil, and then you, of course, triple the income from these smallholders that are there. So this is feasible, and this is exactly what we are looking for. And just a few words to conclude my presentation on Cocoa Action Initiative. It's an initiative from the World Cocoa Foundation that we work for to really promote and increase sustainability of the Brazilian cocoa sector. It's a pre-competitive public-private initiative where we together build a common agenda for the sector in Brazil, of course, searching for solutions for the main bottlenecks, and also improving the enabling environment that we say that exists here, but really needs to advance on the cocoa sector. So just an overview of the partnership that we built for this governance of the Cocoa Action Brazil. It has ministers, secretaries of agriculture, certifications, research and technical assistance entities, industry associations, and of course, private sector together, that all these entities are working, aligning agenda strategies to really move the sector towards a sustainable cocoa production. And here, just for you to understand the main, let's say, the priorities that we have set as Cocoa Action, as this agenda, as this collective agenda. So we have on the 3 pillars of sustainability, the social, economic, and environmental side, different streams of work. Of course, as I said, the importance of increasing productivity, also to increase income from growers, but also quality, farm management, improving on livelihoods. That's another work that we are doing. And of course, controlling of deforestation, but promoting reforestation. And cocoa, as I said, is more a driver of reforestation than of deforestation. And we also work on what we call the enabling environment. That's basically the chain organization to increase efficiency on the governance and on these topics that are part of all the 3 basics on the sustainability area. So, and also to let all of you know, we are partnering with the International Labour Organization, ILO, also on an agenda of promoting decent working conditions. We just launched a few months ago some strategic guidelines to promote decent working conditions in the cocoa sector in Brazil in a participative process, align also with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So to conclude my presentation, I share this picture. I think this is really symbolic on what we are doing together in a great partnership, supporting the sector transformation, building trust, building partnerships, integrating the actions and agendas of the several entities. This is an event we organized, of course, before the pandemic. We are crazy to organize another one like this again soon. Let's see. But also really to move all the power that Paulo showed us in his slides that Brazil has on the leadership of several crops. So this enabling environment that does exist in Brazil then is now moving to the cocoa sector, and we will harvest good results for the country, for the environment, for the social area, and for all the partners that are together with us. So thanks a lot, and we'll be glad to take questions if any. Thank you.
Thank you, Pedro. So many opportunities in Brazil, and thank you for the great presentation. I would like to call Adriana Reis, Quality Manager at Cocoa Innovation Center. Adriana, seja bem-vinda.
Boa tarde a todos. Muito obrigada pelo convite à Câmara de Comércio. É um prazer estar aqui hoje, falando de um tema tão maravilhoso que é o cacau do Brasil, e falar um pouco sobre origem e qualidade. Eu sou gerente de qualidade do Centro de Inovação do Cacau, sou bióloga e sou doutora em biotecnologia. O Brasil é uma origem muito especial, ela tem uma identidade única. Nós somos um país que eu brinco que somos vários países dentro de um, né? A gente tem origens muito tradicionais, como o Espírito Santo, como o cacau da Bahia, o cacau do Pará, o cacau da Amazônia, mas também estão surgindo novas origens, né, que chegam para fortalecer o nosso movimento de cacau. Origens não convencionais, como o cacau do Cerrado brasileiro, cacau do Nordeste, como Fortaleza, como Recife, né? E essas origens tradicionais, elas criaram estratégias de proteção que foram as certificações de origem. Então, aqui eu cito 3 origens que se protegeram, que é a indicação geográfica do cacau sul da Bahia, o cacau de Linhares e o cacau de Tomé-Açu. Elas se protegem de formas inovadoras. Então, eu cito o case do cacau sul da Bahia, que mostra todo o seu processo de controle de origem e qualidade através de rastreabilidade, né, através de blockchains, que é uma inovação super atual, que controla todo o processo da produção, desde o campo, desde o sistema de cultivo, até a forma de comercialização. Elas se protegem devido à forma de cultivo, principalmente, como o Pedro citou anteriormente, a gente tem uma tradição de produzir cacau em biomas de grande valor e relevância ambiental, né? Então, a gente vê uma tendência mundial a produzir cacau com alta produtividade em sistemas que hoje não são tão favoráveis ambientalmente, e o cacau do Brasil, tanto o cacau da Amazônia quanto o cacau da Bahia, ele está sendo produzido realmente conservando, né, e valorizando a questão das florestas. O Brasil, ele tem uma forma de cultivar muito tradicional, nós temos muita história e tradição na forma de cultivar cacau, e a gente convida o mundo a entender como a gente produz esse cacau. E é isso que eu vou mostrar um pouquinho a vocês. A gente tem um cacau, uma origem com uma força muito grande na questão da diversidade genética. Nós temos o segundo maior banco de germoplasma do mundo, né? Estamos atrás apenas de Trinidad e Tobago. Nós temos uma infinidade de variedades que têm muito potencial de sabor, amostras, cacau que tem uma complexidade de flavor, né? Então, a gente tem muita informação sensorial para contar, a gente também tem muita tecnologia de manejo, essa cultura e a tradição, elas são muito diferentes nas zonas de produção, então a gente tem desde a cultura da Bahia, que tem um modo de fazer cacau muito específico, né? Dentro do sistema cacau-cabruca, mas temos também na Amazônia sistemas muito interessantes, que é um cacau que a gente chama de selvagem, produzido em áreas alagadas. Então, a gente tem uma metodologia de produzir esse cacau muito específica, então a gente cria muita inovação, é um país que é líder em tecnologia de cacau, isso é muito interessante, a gente está muito focado na descrição do sabor, na pós-colheita, em caracterizar o terroir Brasil. Esse terroir Brasil, ele é muito complexo, porque ele traz a nossa história, o nosso modo de fazer, né, esse ambiente favorável de cultivar cacau e essa complexidade dos nossos flavors. Então, a gente tem origens como o cacau do Espírito Santo, que tem notas sensoriais muito frutadas, mais puxada para frutas marrons, um cacau mais amendoado, mais amadeirado. A gente tem uma origem Bahia, que tem altas notas para sabor cacau, sabor achocolatado, frutas marrons, frutas cítricas, o cacau do Pará, que é um cacau mais suave, mais adocicado, com frutas frescas, frutas amarelas, um cacau com notas terrosas, né? Origens como Rondônia, que é uma origem que vem surgindo, se consolidando na área do cacau de qualidade, e já traz notas florais mais específicas. Então, a gente tem uma grande complexidade de flavor, e isso é a nossa força. O Brasil também possui ali o cacau orgânico, né? A gente vivendo um novo momento desse cacau orgânico, a gente tem algumas cooperativas e algumas associações, tanto no Pará quanto na Bahia, que já estão consolidadas no mercado e atraem cada vez mais as marcas nacionais e as marcas internacionais. A gente tem um mercado de qualidade em ascensão, como o Pedro citou, nós somos o 5º maior consumidor de chocolate do mundo, então a gente tem um foco nesse momento atual em qualidade, sobre a padronização e a consistência. Aqui eu sinto o case da Dengo, né, que valoriza o produtor, paga o prêmio. A gente está seguindo uma tendência mundial, que é contar a história das origens, né? Levar isso para os produtos de chocolate. Então, marcas consolidadas que levam isso para suas marcas, tanto a história do produtor quanto a qualidade desse cacau, um pouco sobre o o conceito que esse cacau é produzido. Então, desde marcas grandes de chocolate como marcas pequenas, um movimento de chocolate muito positivo. Hoje o Brasil tem mais de 200 marcas de chocolate dentro de um movimento muito pequeno ainda, que é o movimento Bean-to-Bar, mas que cresce a cada ano, vem atraindo o mercado consumidor, ganhando prêmios internacionais. O Brasil está muito focado hoje em mostrar o potencial da sua origem e empoderar realmente os produtores de cacau fino do país. Então, existem grandes esforços hoje para que esses produtores se consolidem no mercado. Então, a gente vem trabalhando concursos nacionais e classificando essas origens para concursos internacionais. Nós já estamos há 10 anos bem posicionados nos concursos internacionais, né? Então, isso é muito positivo, porque os concursos acabam ajudando a gente a conseguir realmente fixar qual é o nosso terroir, o que é que a gente tem para mostrar. Aqui eu trago o case da Bahia e do Pará, nas amostras que representaram o Brasil nas 50 melhores do mundo no Cocoa Excellent, em Paris, e essas amostras são muito peculiares, porque mostram realmente o que o Brasil tem de melhor, que é um cacau com alta nota de sabor cacau e achocolatado, frutas frescas, frutas marrons, né, floral, especiarias, que são notas tão exóticas, e o cacau do Brasil tem bastante nota de especiarias. É um cacau também que chamou muita atenção do mundo, porque tem um alto conteúdo de gordura nas suas amêndoas. Isso veio atraindo realmente o mercado internacional e também o nacional. O Centro de Inovação do Cacau é um laboratório de análises físico-químicas de cacau e chocolate. A gente fica sediado hoje dentro da Universidade Estadual de Santa Cruz, em Ilhéus, na Bahia, mas atuamos para todo o Brasil. Ele é um laboratório que atua nas áreas de qualificação, de treinamento, e nós somos a ponte entre quem produz cacau e quem compra cacau. Então, o que é que nós fazemos lá? Nós vendemos informação técnica, então a gente consegue, através das nossas análises, nós já realizamos mais de 10 mil análises, e a gente faz um constante monitoramento da qualidade do cacau do Brasil. Então, a gente consegue mostrar em tempo real, né, qual o comportamento de cacau que está acontecendo na safra, né, como os produtores estão melhorando os seus lotes e quais as estratégias que nós temos que definir para que esse cacau melhore cada vez mais, ou que esses produtores realmente estejam entrando positivamente no mercado. Então, a gente consegue acessar de forma rápida, através do nosso banco de dados, informações técnicas sobre variedades específicas de cacau, sobre volume de cacau, sobre o perfil físico ou perfil químico e sensorial dessas origens. Estamos focados nas análises instrumentais para responder à pergunta: qual é a nossa identidade, qual é o nosso fingerprint, né, no Brasil. Então, são análises extremamente importantes que já nos mostraram, por exemplo, que a nossa origem é livre de metais pesados. A gente já fez muita análise nos últimos anos e a gente não encontra problemas específicos com cádmio, que é uma legislação internacional que está cada vez mais sendo observada dentro dos países produtores de cacau, e o Brasil, né, neste momento, a gente ainda tem aí um bom fator que a gente não tem esse associado às nossas origens, contaminação com cádmio ou origens com alto índice de cádmio. Nós temos um perfil de amostras que a gente analisa dentro do SIC, dentro de uma condição muito positiva, que vai variar de um cacau regular em qualidade, que seria um cacau com uma boa fermentação de 50% de amêndoas bem fermentadas, um cacau livre de fumaça ou de defeitos de aroma, um cacau característico. Isso representa 72% do cacau que o SIC analisa. E, a partir daí, a gente vai caracterizando os padrões de cacau. Então, o cacau superior, né, a gente tem um cacau que também ele tem um baixo índice de defeito e ele representa 55,2% do volume total de cacau que passa por a gente. Mais de 47% do cacau que é avaliado dentro do SIC é um cacau, por exemplo, que tem um alto padrão de qualidade. Ele tem 65% de amêndoas bem fermentadas, abaixo de 3% de defeito, máxima de 1% de cacau ardósia, e isso representa 465 toneladas de cacau que passam pelo Brasil, que são analisados dentro desse padrão. E a gente tem o cacau prêmio, que é a nossa cereja do bolo, né, que representa hoje entre 27% a 30% do volume total que passa pelo SIC, que é um cacau considerado com máximo acima de 70% de amêndoas bem fermentadas, ele tem um padrão de pH também característico, de 5 a 5,5, baixo índice de defeitos, e isso representou em torno de 272 mil toneladas de cacau que passam pelo SIC. Então, isso é um pouco do que o nosso banco de dados pode mostrar, né? A gente vende essa informação, a gente tenta ser esse lastro técnico para apoiar os produtores a entrar no mercado de qualidade, a se consolidar e realmente a continuar produzindo esse cacau. Trabalhamos sempre em rede, né? Eu acredito que a gente vive um bom momento da cadeia, onde a gente está muito alinhado, né? Conversando, trabalhando em conjunto. O SIC representa isso, um trabalho de rede, né? Apoiado por diversos parceiros, com o foco total em realmente consolidar o Brasil como uma origem de qualidade para o mundo. Quero agradecer a todos e continuo aqui à disposição para as perguntas.
Thank you, Adriana. Thank you for sharing all this invaluable information. And now it's a pleasure to call Daniela Liborio. She is the coordinator of the CCBC Natural and Urban Environment Committee. Daniela, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Elisa. Boa tarde a todos. É um prazer para mim participar deste painel. E como advogada, o que eu quero contribuir na reflexão de hoje sobre a produção do cacau no Brasil são algumas questões a respeito da segurança jurídica na sustentabilidade da produção do cacau. Então, eu considero que é importante levantar alguns tópicos para isso, não é? Então, diante de todo esse esforço e desse empenho virtuoso e bem-sucedido, como vocês viram agora, nas falas de Paulo, de Pedro e de Adriana, a respeito das melhorias do resultado da produção do cacau no Brasil, é importante também trazer como é que o direito pode contribuir, que cenário de segurança jurídica é esse, não é, para aquele que vai avançar junto com o cacau brasileiro ou com o produto derivado desse cacau. Bem, diante disso, foi mostrado também que, essencialmente, a produção desse cacau, ele advém de 2 estados brasileiros, da Bahia e do Pará. Outros estados também, mas majoritariamente Bahia e Pará. Pará está na Amazônia, né? Então, o que significa isso? Diante do cenário internacional, sempre uma grande aflição, o que faz parecer que tudo é de insustentabilidade ambiental, mas não é bem assim. Então, vamos trazer os 3 recortes dessa sustentabilidade. O primeiro tópico é da sustentabilidade social. Então, quando vamos pensar nessa produção do cacau, é fundamental que nós analisemos, para verificar essa segurança jurídica, né, qual é a relação e o elo de cadeia entre todos os atores nessa produção desse cacau até o produto final. Se esse trabalhador, ou meeiro, ou parceiro, né, tem um trabalho digno, se é escravo, se é infantil, não é? Como é a distribuição desse resultado, se há uma relação que traga dignidade para as pessoas que estão envolvidas, não é? Diante disso, é fundamental trazer que a Constituição Federal Brasileira, no seu artigo 7º, ela proíbe, ela veda, a Constituição brasileira, ela veda o trabalho infantil e também combate o trabalho escravo. O Código Penal brasileiro, ele criminaliza o trabalho escravo contemporâneo ou aquelas relações de trabalho análoga à escravidão. Então, há todo um empenho e um alinhamento da legislação brasileira a focar e a superar, eventualmente, mas a combater esse tipo de situação, não é? Outra questão importante é trazer com relação à sustentabilidade econômica. Então, diante da produção do cacau e do produto final, a distribuição desse resultado tem que ser focada em alavancar desde o começo desta cadeia até a sua ponta final, de maneira que essa população, que historicamente é vulnerável, não é por causa do cacau, e sim pelas condições já seculares e de muito tempo que se estabeleceram nessas regiões, como é que se quebra este padrão de relação dessas pessoas, inclusive com o meio ambiente. Então, diante disso, algumas ações positivas podem e devem ser tomadas, porque essa população, muitas vezes, não é, que estão envolvidas nesse processo, são pessoas que precisam de uma capacitação, precisam de um processo de educação ambiental para entenderem isso e melhorar também a sua relação com aquele trabalho que fazem. Então, também é fundamental nessa relação de sustentabilidade econômica, de apropriação de uma mais-valia em todas essas etapas, que haja esse processo de construção com relação também ao início desta cadeia. A sustentabilidade ambiental, ela foi trazida já de maneira um pouco específica pelo Pedro e pela Adriana, não é? A mostrar que temos biomas, áreas de reserva legal, distanciamento de corpos hídricos para fazer produção, o que significa que existem órgãos de controle para que se haja e que se possa produzir de uma maneira sustentável ao meio ambiente, assim como na forma de produção com relação aos elementos eventualmente contaminantes para o meio ambiente e também para as coletividades, para as pessoas de um modo geral. Então, diante dessa interface social, econômica, ambiental, não são só as leis que existem no Brasil, existe também órgãos de controle e órgãos de fiscalização, tanto do Poder Executivo, quanto de Ministério Público, quanto de sociedade civil organizada, a focar e a melhorar e a trazer luz para essas relações. Então, o Brasil está comprometido com essa transparência, está comprometido com o alinhamento do que está na sua Constituição Federal sobre sustentabilidade nos seus 3 eixos, e há todo um trabalho de associações, instituições, fundações, para não dizer, como eu falei, dos órgãos de controle fiscalizadores, para que haja um aperfeiçoamento permanente com relação, nesse caso, da produção de cacau. Então, isso significa jogar mais luz para esse cenário brasileiro, né? Um comprometimento neste aperfeiçoamento e, sem dúvida alguma, diminuir tremendamente o risco, também jurídico, dos negócios que são feitos com relação a esse segmento. Então, uma boa análise de risco jurídico sobre o viés da sustentabilidade pode trazer a segurança necessária a respaldar toda esta cadeia, que, como vocês estão assistindo até agora, está muito bem trabalhada e com grande empenho de todos os atores. Então, era essa a mensagem que eu gostaria de trazer por enquanto. Muito obrigada. Eu vou a você, Elisa.
Thank you, Daniela. Thank you for sharing all your knowledge with us today. And now it's a pleasure to invite Esteban Sartorelli, CEO at Dengo Chocolates. Welcome, Esteban.
Welcome, everybody. It's a pleasure to be with all of you. I'm Esteban Sartorelli. I'm CEO and co-founder at Dengo Chocolates in Brazil. Before spreading about Dengo or our activities, I would like to share you the meaning of Dengo, or what this word means. Dengo is a very Brazilian word. It came from the old African continent, And it has a meaning in Brazil of good vibes, good things. It may express caring, affection. It may express love, charm, and so other good meanings in our world. And it's because it brings such a positive meaning that we believe that all the world requires more dengo. That's the reason one of our main taglines in Dengo chocolates nowadays is for a world with more dengo. Dengo were born in 2017 as a social impact business, and I will follow the next slide. And in 2017, Dengo were born as a social impact business. More than being a chocolate or a cocoa brand, Dengo were born with the reason of promoting, improving, or generating a decent living income for small and middle-sized farmers, cocoa farmers. We are located in the South Bahia, is a wonderful region in Brazil, and Dengo were born with this main target to improve the farmers' livelihood. And how we do so? First, we say that we respect or we honor the farmers, and we do so by paying them more, a premium price above New York price once the cocoa is a commodity negotiated in New York exchange. We promote such network in 2017. We were a small group of farmers, around 6 to 8 farmers. And in the last year, we were more than 200 families involved in a network that promotes a perspective of a conscious consumption and a perspective of promoting a high quality bean for Brazil and for the world. Everybody knows that promoting or producing a high quality bean is not an easy effort. It demands efforts, many work done from the farmers. And we know very well, as Pedro Ronca has already stated, how huge is the challenge of productivity and quality in terms of addressing the feasibility or a viable rural area. In such statement, we believe that Dengo helps the farmers in these two main topics. First, we pay a premium price that is relevant for the farmer. Only just as a curiosity, only in 2020, we paid on average 84% above New York price. We believe that business of social impact starts with shared value. Shared value is crucial for such change that the sector requires. And second, and not least, we believe the importance of technical assistance. Dengo does so by promoting or generating some support in terms of technical assistance in post-harvest practices in a way that the farmers that want to learn how to produce a high-quality bean, he or she may comprehend so by understanding fermentation, the drying, and their harvest process. This is our main reason of existence, and we are really happy to see that we are already more than 200 farmers and rural areas involved in a chain that grows every day. Just an additional curiosity, only last year, we increased the revenue or the farmers' income above 25%, although the pandemic period we are living now. Additionally, 81% of our farmers achieve or exceed the living income in the region. Compared to the sector, we have less than the half of these ones with a decent living income or living income. It's not easy to do so, but we know that the new businesses requires that they be committed with the change we want to see in the world nowadays. That's the reason we know the importance of the farmers for our business and the importance of the other crucial player that are the chocolate lovers or the customers. And we do so how we believe that we inspire our customers, our clients. We do so by offering them a combination of different chocolates combined with different fruits from the forest. We have already heard it in Pedro Ronca's speech about the Cabruca system. And in this agroforestal system, there are so many other cultures that are produced together. For example, banana, we may have some other fruits such as cajá, mangaba, coconut, and other nuts that combined with good chocolate may offer the final customer a tasteful, a naturally delicious chocolate, offering them a combination of good chocolate with health. And this is the future that we believe is a future that at the same time enable that farmers have decent lives and the customers may consume a product that maintains their health in the best way. Only as a curiosity, we as a bean-to-bar chocolate, we have tried to diminish year per year our concentration of sugar. We know how the sugar is a villain in the industry. Unfortunately, we could say that chocolate is more about the sugar nowadays than about the real cocoa. But we are really committed that these changes is possible. As on average, our formulas, they take less than 20% of added sugar. This is far from what we want for the world, but is much done compared to the category. And finally, but not least, we believe that we will do everything for farmers and customers without negotiating the nature. Once we believe that we are part of the nature, we depend on the nature. That's the reason at Dengo we say that we preserve nature. And how we do so? We do so by producing 100% of our cocoa below the Atlantic forest in the agroforestal system called the Cabruca. Only in 2020, we produced our cocoa in more than 1,600 hectares of preserved forests in a way that we call a conservative production system, because we produce or we generate revenue for farmers, maintaining the forest in its best states, in its best equation. As a curiosity, I don't know if many you know, but Cabruca system is an important system to sequestrate or to address the carbon sequestration. And it will be crucial for the demands that we have in the current world, considering the climate changes we are already involved. So, to conclude, dears, this is one of the photos we have from the wonderful Cabruca that combines this nature. That's the reason we say that at Dengo, we have a wonderful nature in our chocolates that makes so really incredible, because we believe that your chocolate, our chocolate, is in good hands, in good nature. That's the reason we conclude, or we believe, that we have three main pillars at Dengo. First one, respect farmers. Second, inspire customers. And third, preserve the nature. Thanks for listening to me. In case you want to know more about Dengo project or Dengo insights, follow us at dengo.com.
Thank you, Stefan. It's so important to hear all the good initiatives that we have here in Brazil, the potential of our market, and the undoubtable quality of our cocoa bean and chocolate. I would like to thank all of our speakers, Paulo, Márcio, Pedro, Adriana, Daniela, and Esteban. It was a pleasure to having you here with us, sharing your knowledge and all these amazing projects and initiatives. I would also like to thank our partners, the Embassy of Brazil in Ottawa, Brazilian Association of Chocolate, Peanut, and Candy Industry, ABICABI, Dengo Chocolates, World Cocoa Foundation, and the Center for Cocoa Innovation. I would like to thank all the attendees of the panel and invite you to stay to the next panel entitled Brazilian Flavors. Don't miss out on expanding your gastronomic knowledge and experiences. We'll see you in a couple of minutes. Thank you.